Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Hello. Good night, even. Everybody's joining from everywhere, all over the world. So it's uh, it's always a kind of a lucky packet of who we're getting that day. So as usual, I see that there are already some people in the comments telling us where you guys are from. So please chime in. Let us know where you're from, what the weather is like. Um, yeah, basically update on my end. Our we were supposed to have the webinar last week, Thursday. Unfortunately, it was delayed due to a tornado in my area. So stuff like that does not happen in South Africa ever. And then it happened, and then it delayed the entire webinar schedule. So I sincerely apologize about that if anybody was planning on joining then. But yeah, the weather currently is very mild. It is actually quite hot. Hopefully, it's weird. We're actually hoping for rain again, even though we just had like 2 weeks of consistent rain. But we're hoping for it again just to cool down the weather a bit because it is rough. So as usual, we are just going to give it about 5 minutes just for everybody to join. So we will start at 11:05. So you have time to go and make yourself a quick cup of coffee, quick cup of tea, get some water, get a snack, whatever you need. So go ahead, do that. And in the meantime, I'll be reading some comments and we'll see how it goes. So first of all, I do know that we have some people from Canada at the moment, so welcome. I was actually speaking to somebody earlier in South Africa, so home country represent. So I was speaking to someone there as well, so welcome to everybody from all over the world. I'm very excited. We haven't done one of these since 2025. Oh my goodness, it's been that long. Yeah, it has. 2024. So it's been roughly nearly 3 months since I did a webinar. Some of you might have seen me last week Tuesday for a book launchers webinar that we did using Dibbly Create. So if you were there, let me know. It was very, very exciting. It's a little bit of an ease back into webinars for me. So, okay, there we go. South Africa. Hi. Anele, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Welcome, Anele, from South Africa. Which parts is it? Is it hot where you are? Is it cold? I know that some people are like experiencing very, very hot weather at the moment, and some people are freezing. So let me know, because I might just make a trip just to cool down a little bit. It is insanely hot at the moment. Alrighty, so we'll just give it another minute, just for people who actually did go ahead and and get coffee and stuff, so that we don't start just before them. So yeah, there we go. Hi, someone from Toronto, Canada. Welcome. Dr. Ayesha, aspiring ebook writer. Hi. Yes, books, book covers are the best first impression, right? Like you can't. I'm a very visual person. I do not buy a book if it has a terrible cover. I might, and then you'll see here on the left-hand side, my left, there are some books that are turned around so that the pages basically show instead of the spine of the book, because the covers are hideous. So yeah, and I got them as a gift, so I can't get rid of them, unfortunately. Desiree from South Africa. Hi, beautiful name. Okie dokie. So we can dive right in. I think 5 minutes. I think that's enough time for everybody to join and get back. So let's get started. To start the webinar, hi, I'm Michaela. I'm the sales team and engagement coordinator here at the Urban Writers. So if you ever got in touch with the sales at 80 Point, I am probably one of the people that you spoke with. I do demos as well. So I chat with a lot of people. I've been a ghostwriter for 7 years. I don't ghostwrite anymore, but I was a ghostwriter for 7 years. I specialized in both fiction and nonfiction, with a very soft spot in my heart for children's fiction and for fantasy. So I did mostly those kinds of books. I've written over 270 books in general, and I've been at the Urban Writers for 5.5 years on the admin team. So I'm basically part of the furniture, even if way back when you chatted with us, chances are you chatted with me. Okay, now next up, I'm just going to introduce the company a little bit. So, the Urban Writers, Dibbly as a whole, was founded in 2018 by Natasha and Marco Matinho, and it basically just transformed the way that customers and freelancers connect. So, we are evolving into Dibbly. So, Dibbly is our parent company, and then we have the Urban Writers, and we have like Dibbly Create, and like under Dibbly. And so if you do see the branding, don't get confused. This is still the Urban Writers, but our parent company is Dibbly. And there are a lot of amazing features that Dibbly will be releasing this year and in the future as well. So we have over 5,000 creative minds on the platform, ranging from writers, editors, cover designers. We have narrators, illustrators, literally anything that you need in order to get your book ready for publishing, we can provide for you. Next up, we have written over 1 billion words in total since 2018. That number has risen significantly. We're probably closer to 1.5, maybe almost 2 billion words at the moment. And then we have over 20,000 happy customers as well that are currently active and working on our platform. Now, let's hop into the agenda. So, first of all, we're going to just go over the power of a great cover. We're also going to go into the key elements of effective cover designs, the types of cover designs. We're also going to go into working with a professional designer and what the best practices are for those, using Dibbly's image or Dibbly Creates image generator tool to actually create the art for your cover. And then we are also going to go over the Urban Writers' cover design packages. So if you do just want a professional to handle everything from start to finish, you know exactly what we offer with that. And as usual, at the very end, we are going to have a Q&A session. So if you do have any questions, if there is any advice that you would like, please pop it in the comments. You can wait until the end, or you can put it in while we are doing the webinar. And then at the very end, we'll go over everything, and I will basically just give you my advice, answer some questions, and yeah, let's get into it. So, first of all, we do have the power of a great cover design. Now, first things first, why does it matter? Okay, so first impressions are everything. It is literally judging a book by its cover. There's a saying about it, it is true. Most people are not going to purchase a book if the cover is hideous or it's plain or it's boring. People want a good cover. People buy with their eyes. So you want to make a good first impression. It doesn't really matter what's in the book. People aren't going to pick up your book and read what's inside and then purchase it. They're going to pick up the book, see what this book is about, maybe read the back cover text, and then look at the cover. And if that is not interesting, they're not going to buy the book. The other thing is brand recognition. Now, we are going to get into that a little bit later on, but you want your covers to be consistent across your brand. So, of course, with Amazon KDP, you can have multiple pen names so that you can publish multiple different genres under those pen names, so they can basically connect one pen name with one genre of book. However, with that pen name, you want a consistent brand. Okay, so let's say, for example, your book is on growing daisies or just gardening in general. Each book might have the same kind of illustrative little flower on it. Maybe one is growing daisies, one is growing roses, one is growing peonies. That is how people are going to recognize your book. Keep the same color scheme, but have different imagery on it to keep the brand consistent. You also want your covers to match. So in the background, there are going to be some covers of series of books that don't match, and it personally drives me absolutely bonkers. So you want your covers designs to match. Okay. Next up is market appeal. So a great cover design, it caters to the target audience and reflects the book's genre and tone very, very well. People want to pick up a book and they want to know what kind of vibe is in the book, whether it's if it's fiction, if it's a horror book, you want that cover to instill that uneasiness when they are picking up the book itself and just looking at the cover. Next up is visual storytelling. So a cover can convey themes, emotions, and just key elements of a book. Your book might have, let's use fiction for example again, your book might have consistent themes of somebody, a main character, maybe it's a romance book, maybe the main male character is leaving roses for the main female character, and on the cover design there are going to be roses that actually adds to that theme. It just basically, when the reader is reading through the content, they're going to think like, ah, that's actually why there are roses on the cover. And then next up is the influence on purchase decisions. Again, people purchase with their eyes, and people want to know, people want a beautiful book. If it's boring, they're not going to want to buy it. And of course, if people have an interest in a specific genre, there are books in that specific genre that have common themes, and you want to ensure that you are meeting those common themes so that people will instantly know, oh, this is a self help book, oh, this is a fantasy book, that sort of thing. Now, next up is influencing the readers. Now, a good cover design attracts attention. It conveys professionalism, of course. If you just have a cover design created in like Microsoft Paint, people are immediately going to see it. They're not going to think you're professional. You are not going to sell the book itself. This also basically establishes trust. It differentiates you from competitors. So if you have a brand and you have a specific idea of what kind of or like colors or imagery, that sort of thing, that's going to set you apart from the competitors. And then it also encourages sharing. So for example, me and my best friend, we just share book covers. Sometimes we don't even read the books. We just see a beautiful cover and we share it with one another and we say, hey, look at this beautiful cover. And then the other person ends up reading it. I maybe won't end up reading it, but the friend will end up reading it. That is what you want. You want word of mouth. That is an amazing marketing strategy. You want people to see something amazing and then share that with whoever they have around them. Okay, next up, we have the key elements of effective cover design. So, first of all, we have typography. Okay, so basically, we have match the genre. Okay, you want your, again, if you have a horror book, you want your text to match the genre. You're not going to have very whimsical texts. You're not going to have anything fantasy-esque. You're going to want a genre appropriate font. Okay, so the font really does matter. Readability is very important. You might have seen some of the death metal bands with with their names typed out, and you just cannot read what the actual name is because there's so much going on. That is great for that kind for music, for example, because the people that know the bands will know what that means. But for a book, you want it easily visible and you want everybody to be able to read it. So steer clear of fonts that where an A can be confused for an O, that sort of thing. Tone and mood is very, very important as well. So, again, typography, the kinds of fonts that you use, set the mood. So, if you're using, again, a very magical, mystical font, that means that it's going to be a fantasy book. You also want to limit your choices. So don't have too many different fonts on your cover. You can have, let's say, your title in one font, your subtitle in another, and then maybe match the subtitle with your author name. But limit the number of fonts that you have on your cover so that it doesn't look too busy and too overwhelming. And then you also want to consider the hierarchy. So this means that you want your title to be much larger than your subtitle. You want your subtitle to be larger than the author name. So the font sizes matter as well. You also want the most important parts of the book to be larger than the other parts. So the title, that is the important part. That is what you want to have as the biggest font. Next up, we have color theory. So you want to understand color psychology. Now, this does seem very daunting, but it is actually very simple. If you think of a self-help book, something that's supposed to calm you, something that maybe you have a lot of anxiety and you want a book that's going to help you deal with that, you think blue. If you want something that is very happy, very like improve your life or how to be happy kind of thing, you think yellow. So that is a very important thing to consider when you are creating your cover. And you can go ahead and look at other covers in that specific genre to see what kind of reception it's gotten and what kind of themes there are as well. We also want to create contrast. So, for example, you're not going to create a cover with a white background and gray text or very light gray text. People are not going to be able to read what's on the cover. So, contrast is very, very important. You also want to limit your palettes. So, don't have 20 different colors, limit it to 5, 6 colors. It does depend on the kind of book that you have, but limit the color palette as well. You also want to reflect your genre, of course, so it needs to be appropriate to the genre. And then highlight important elements. So again, I use the example of the roses. In some cases, the cover might be black and white, and only the roses are in color. So maybe they are in red or they're in blue, and that has some form of significance with the cover design or with the content of the book itself. Next up, we have imagery and visuals. So again, align with your themes. Keep in mind, themes it needs to be considered in every single part of your cover design. There's a lot of thought that goes into cover designs in general. So keep in mind that theme needs to be included in all of the different elements. You want to deliver high quality. So if you have pictures on your cover, maybe it's a survival book, and on the cover you want a picture of you doing your building a campfire or going fishing or something like that. The image needs to be super, super, super high quality. You can't do a cover that has pixels on it. The cover designer is not going to be able to create something beautiful if you provide a picture that is pixelated or very low quality with low contrast, or that's just blurry in general. Also want color harmony. So if you have a specific picture on your cover or on the back cover, ensure that the rest of the colors of your book matches. So let's say again, it's a survival book. There are a lot of trees in the background, and you're putting this specific image on the back. Your font might be in green in that case, and then the rest of the book might be light blue to represent the sky, that sort of thing. You also want simplicity, so usually less is more. And the more simple your book, the more striking it's going to be. If it's an extraordinarily busy book or a busy cover, it's just people are not going to be as drawn to it as something that is very simple. And then you also want emotional resonance. So you want whatever art you have on the book to invoke some form of emotion from the customers or the reader in this case. Then finally, there is genre alignment. So you need to know your audience, you need to analyze genre trends, incorporate your findings. The incorporate your findings are twice there, apparently. My apologies for that. And then you also want to gather feedback and then implement that feedback. So send this cover to friends, send it to beta readers, ensure that you have the right cover for your book. Okie dokie. Next slide. There we go. Okay. Um, sorry, I actually forgot. I wanted to do some cover analysis with you guys. Now, I have two covers here. So just random covers that we scoured on the internet. And I wanted to show you guys what makes a good cover design and what makes a bad cover design. So if we can just pull that up on the screen quickly, then I can show you. So the first one, for example, the real change. This is an example of a good cover design. Okay, it is simple, a butterfly, it represents change. It represents, you can see the color on one side, you can see the white on the other side. This represents change. So when people see this, they're automatically going to think, oh, this is interesting. It represents change. They don't even need to read what the actual book is about. The other thing is that the text is super legible. You can also see that the color palette is very limited. There aren't a lot of different colors in the text itself. The text is basically, I believe, one font, maybe two fonts. So it is very consistent. Now, the other cover design, decluttering your mind, is it's fine, but it's not fantastic. Now, the reason for this is because you can see at the bottom, just below the little imagery, that the text is a different color. So it's yellow, then it's white, then it's yellow, then it's blue, and then at the top it's white, and then it's blue. So the text is very inconsistent. Although they are sticking with a very similar font with all of these different texts, it is very cluttered, even though there is only one image on the cover design itself. Decluttering your mind, the imagery on the cover is also a bit vague. If you had, let's say, it was a brain and there's a filing cabinet, I'm just using a silly example, but if you had a brain and there's a little filing cabinet, and which is one part that is cluttered, one part that isn't cluttered, that is going to be the thing that actually draws readers in, because one part is still in absolute chaos and the other side is organized, and that is where you want to get. Okay, next up, we have working with a professional cover designer. Okay, so I'm just hoping, yeah, there we go. We just hopped over. So, oh, right. First of all, we wanted to do types of cover designs that fit your book best. So you want to actually decide if you want to do minimalistic or bold colors. It does also play a part in your genre and the kind of book that this is. If it's a very happy book, if it's something that needs to or needs to inspire people, you might do something on the bolder side. With minimalism, more organization, something like math and finance, those sorts of things are going to be more minimalistic. So you want to decide which one you want to go with. Now, there is also the case where some fantasy books are very chaotic, some are extremely minimalistic. That is also up to you to decide what's going to match your book best. You also need to decide whether you want custom illustrations or stock images. So, custom illustrations can truly elevate your content and elevate your cover design. Okay, it is going to be 100% unique to your book. This is especially this could be, how can I say this? Custom illustrations often, it just invokes a very personal thing for me specifically. I actually have a book here. It's right at the top there. I wanted to show you guys, but anyway, that specific book has custom illustrations. It's called The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and it is absolutely stunning. And what this writer did is they actually used fan art that people submitted about the book and incorporated it into the limited editions of that said book. And that is absolutely amazing. As an artist, I love seeing that sort of thing, the representation of other artists as well. But if you're doing self help, for example, maybe a custom illustration is not going to be best suited for your book. So you could have just a little background, for example, the image, the cover design that is currently on the screen. I do believe that is actually a stock image. And you do get amazing, amazing stock images that you can use for your book. But if you want something more unique and you want to build a brand, custom illustrations are also great to build a brand with, because you know that you can get the exact same style every time, where with stock images, you might not be able to find the same style for every single book. So again, if you're just doing a standalone book, that is fine. If you just want to use stock images, again, with nonfiction, that is more, um, what's the word? That people tend to use that more. It's more popular. But with fiction, custom illustrations are more popular. And then you do want to design your series for consistency. So I actually have some examples that I can show you guys. I have the physical books, and basically, this is this is the Shatter Me series. Okay, this is by Tahira Mafi, absolutely brilliant fiction book. Okay, now this is the first book in the series. There are like 9 or 10 books in the series, but every single book has the eye on it. So it's very simple. The backgrounds are pretty simple. There's only one main point of interest, which is the eye. And every single book, although the colors are different, although the styles are slightly different, every single book has the eye on it. And with the novellas, I don't believe I have a novella. No, I don't. But basically, I there are some novellas that really are amazing as well in the series. And instead of having a full having the eye that's open, the novella's eyes are closed. So you still get the eye, but it is different because it's a novella. It's not part of the actual series. So yeah, that is something that you do need to consider when you are creating your books as well. If you are doing a series and if you are planning a series, definitely consider consistency. Alrighty, next up, now we actually have working with a professional designer. So with professional designers, it can be quite daunting. It can be a very, very scary experience, but honestly, it is super, super easy. Um, these creatives are there to help you, right? They have ideas, they know the genre, they know exactly what is going to work for you and for your book. So listen to them and chat with them. So first things first, how to communicate your vision and needs effectively. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is actually be clear and specific. If you have a very, very clear idea in your head, put that in a document, put it in a message, send that to them so that they know exactly what it is you want. If you're not 100% sure what it is that you're looking for, ask them for their opinion, work together to get a very clear, basically just to get very clear requirements. Okay. Next up is provide reference materials. So this is very, very important for the designer to understand what it is that you are looking for. With cover designs and what the Urban Writers requires as well, this is an optional requirement, but we prefer you to send us some examples of covers that you like. It doesn't need to be the entire cover that you like. It can be the font of one cover, the color of a different cover. And that's just going to give the writer, or sorry, in this case, the designer, an example of what it is that you are actually looking for. A visual example is much better than trying to figure out what somebody is trying to say verbally. You also want to outline your goals. So you want to give the designer some feedback on what you want to have your end product looking like. You also want to encourage collaboration. So, like I said, if you are doing, if you're not 100% sure what you want, encourage the designer to actually go ahead and give their input as well. And then finally, you want to request feedback from them as well. Next up, we have the importance of providing a detailed brief and inspiration boards. So this gives clarity and clarity of the vision. We also have the guided creativity. So basically, you want to guide the designer in the right direction. You want to steer them into the inspiration and the colors and the just the overall emotion that you want to invoke from your readers. You want to steer the designer in the right direction. This is also very efficient to the process. So in order to actually to not delay the project too much, this is going to help just basically escalate the entire thing and streamline it. Yeah. And then we also have brand consistency, which gone over already. It is important to communicate your brand with your designer so that they understand what exactly it is they need to do. And if they are doing your covers in the future, they can refer back to whatever you said about their brand and they can put that in the next books as well. It also enhances collaboration. So definitely collaboration is key when working with a professional cover designer. Then we have a bit of avoiding common pitfalls in the design process. So things that people do quite often is actually lack of communication. People will just give the designer whatever it is that they need, basic information, and then they won't talk with the designer again until the very end, where they're then unhappy about the cover design. So definitely communicate with your freelancer the entire time to ensure that you are getting what you want. Vague briefs is another thing that kind of plays part in the previous point. Ignoring the audience is also very, very important. You know that if you're doing a fantasy book, or let's say a romance book, let's dive into a different genre. If you're doing a romance book, and let's say it's a very cozy, very cute romance, you want to go into Amazon, look at the bestsellers, and see what kind of themes they have, because those are the covers that your audience likes. They like pops of color. I'm actually seeing if I can find a book here. I apologize, my light just went out for some reason. My bad. But basically, you want a pop of color. So I don't have one right here at the moment, unfortunately, but they'll have pastels. It will be very cutesy. It might be custom illustrations where there are little characters on the front. So take your audience into consideration as well. Do your market research for that. And then micromanaging is also a different thing. I did talk about communicating with your designer, but you also don't want to delay their creative process or get in the way with that. Get updates, give them updates, but don't try and micromanage them, because that is going to mean that they don't have the creative freedom that they need. And then we have neglecting feedback. So if you have feedback for the designer, give it. Don't just think, "Oh, I'm just going to accept this. It is what it is," kind of thing. Give them feedback. They are more than likely very, very happy to go ahead and make the changes that you want. Okie dokie. Our next, here we go. So using Dibbly Create's image generator for cover designs. Now, if you guys didn't know, Dibbly Create does have an image generator, which is absolutely amazing, if I do have to say so myself. So basically, this AI can generate any image that you want. I'm going to give you guys a bit of a demonstration for that. But basically, this can generate literally any kind of image that you are looking for. Um, and this is amazing for cover designs because it is completely unique. And then it can also benefit you because it is going to save you time, it is going to save you money. Instead of hiring a professional illustrator, you can just generate it using AI. It helps with developmental review as well. So basically, just in general, it is the AI can also just give you some feedback on what is very good at that moment in time when you are generating outlines. Oh, sorry, outlines. Oh my goodness. But are generating images for that specific brand and that specific topic. So definitely keep AI in the loop with that too. Alrighty. Now we can dive right into, I'm actually going to share my screen. I'm going to show you a little bit about how we can go about using Dibbly Create. So let me close that. And then over here, I'm just going to do that so everybody can see. Okay. So basically from here, you're going to go into this little icon here. So I literally just created a new document. This is fresh, nothing's in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Kip Generate. My screen is a little small, so the menu is going to look a little bit different for you. But literally, we just want to scroll until we see Image Generator. Now we can choose the style and tone. For this, let's go something, let's do something interesting. Let's do Gothic. Okay. Now our prompt, let's say we want to create a cover image for a fantasy book about dragons and dragon riders. Okay, so this is the first thing that I'm going to do. We don't need to, we can adjust the aspect ratio here. So you can see on the right-hand side, it's kind of changing the aspect ratio. So you want to probably do about 2:3 in general. For a cover design, that's going to give the designer a nice big canvas to work with. And then you can also choose your image count. So just for this, for the sake of showing, I am just going to leave it at 4. Now we can generate these images. Now it is very important to note that when you are generating images, do not generate a cover design using AI with titles in them. So get an image like these that I just mentioned, or that I just that I'm showing and that I generated, without any text. When you are giving basically a cover design with text to a designer, they will not be able to edit the words. AI when it is generating images, there can also be some weird spelling or some weird fonts included. So rather go ahead and generate the image that without the text, and then just have a designer add it for you afterwards. It is going to be much easier. So here you can see some examples of what was generated. This one over here is particularly cool because up here in the sky is there's a lot of contrast between the colors, and up in the sky you can add your title, you can add your subtitle, and right at the bottom you can actually add your author name as well. So this is a very good example of a good image for a cover. Now, to play around a little bit more, this is the prompt that I initially gave. Okay, so what we can do is we can enhance this by Kip. So this is going to allow Kip, which is our AI, to go ahead and enhance the text. So it's going to give a lot more detail about what exactly it is that you are looking for. Now you can go through this until it's done enhancing. Just wait a minute, there we go. So you can then go in and you can still edit some parts of it, but this basically allows Kip to do an entire breakdown of what this image is supposed to look like, which of course is going to be a lot more specific to what it is that you're looking for. So if you're not 100% sure about what it is that you're looking for, just go ahead, enhance your text, and then generate the images accordingly. So now that these are done, these match the enhanced version a lot better. Again, these specific illustrations are amazing for covers because it has the contrast, it has a figure, it evokes some form of emotion. This is a traveler, there are dragons. It just tells a story of adventure with only the image. And then all the designer has to go ahead and do is add the back cover. They can add the text, the fonts, the titles, all of those things, the back cover text, and then your book is good to go. And this is 100% unique to your book. You don't need to buy the images. Like if you do a stock images, for example, you don't need to buy it. And or if you go to Shutterstock, those kinds of images, you don't need to buy it. This is yours. This is unique to you. People won't be able to regenerate this kind of image. Maybe something similar, but it will never be the same as what you just generated. And there are massive amounts of different styles that you can choose from. If I, for example, go ahead and I say, oh, I want this in a chibi or in an anime style, it's going to look completely different to what it has generated for me already. Okay, that is basically it for Kip Generate, or for the image generation. It is very, very important, again, to note that you shouldn't add the actual text to the image. This is very, very important. Designers can change it, but it can alter the vibe of the image itself as well, because they're going to have to edit it out. Maybe they have to crop specific things out. It's going to need to be edited. There's a lot of work involved in it. So just generate an image that does not have text on it. Okay, and that is basically how you can go ahead and generate your images. So I also here have some, basically two covers generated by AI. I actually had help with one of our head designers at the Urban Writers, and they generated this, and they're basically just one very bad one very good one. So if you look at these, so the first example, let's start with the bad one. The power of the narrative. This it sure is something, right? So so basically the power of narrative is basically two, sorry, not the power of narrative, the bad one, right? Both of the power of narrative, but the first one is basically anatomically incorrect hands that are touching, they're intertwined, there are childlike colors, which doesn't really tell the story of how serious this situation really is. So again, you need to go ahead and just make sure that the colors that you use are relevant to your topic. If it's a serious topic, you're not going to use childlike colors. That's what, like, it's depicted in the bad example. Now, the other example with the two faces facing each other, this is a great cover. It's very out there, it's very abstract, but the colors are simple. It has the black in the background. The font is easy to read. The bad example, again, at the bottom, the basically the author name at the bottom, 100%. You basically can't read what's in the middle of it, so you're missing a word there. Where the power of narrative, the good example, is a lot better when you are considering the text, when you're considering the actual niche of the book as well. So again, I just wanted to show you some examples of that. It is simple. It might look a little bit messy or a little bit abstract, but this is quite simple compared to other books and compared to the bad example. So you can still have fun with your cover, but just keep it tasteful. Alrighty. Next up, we have yeah, this is basically the there we go. The Urban Writers cover design packages. Okay, so we have three different kinds of cover design packages. We have silver, gold, and platinum. Now, what this includes is a professional designer that will take your ideas and create a cover for you. They can use AI to generate images for you as well, so you don't have to do that, or they can just grab a stock image or license an image for your cover, and then edit it accordingly to add the title, add the back cover text, that sort of thing. Now, the silver cover design includes a one concept. So the designer is going to create your book and use your requirements to create one concept that you can then request 3 rounds of revisions on. Um, 2 rounds of revisions on. The gold cover package includes two concepts that you can choose from, and then 3 rounds of revisions on whichever cover you decide to go with. And then the platinum cover comes with 3 concepts. It also comes with unlimited revisions until you decide that, okay, I'm ready to finalize my cover. And it also comes with the source files. So these are the PSD, the Photoshop documents, so that if you want to make any changes to the cover yourself in the future, so maybe your pen name changes, maybe you decide to change the title of your book, you have these files to go in and make those changes yourself instead of coming to us and having us make those changes for you. So this is usually for people that have experience in Photoshop, or any other image manipulation tool. Um, you can purchase the PSD files for silver and gold as well at an additional cost, but usually it's just worth, if you do want the PSD files, just go ahead and purchase the platinum bundle, because then you get additional concepts, you get additional revisions, and it's basically like a $30 difference if you take the source files into consideration. And then our covers are also all included in our bundles. So if you purchase a bundle, like a writing bundle, a cover design is always going to be included in every single bundle. A cover design is included. So that is also something to keep in mind if you are looking to just get everything done by us, and you need everything from the manuscript all the way through to the cover. This is how you can do it. Just grab a bundle. Okie dokie. And now we have a little section here about Dibbly Create. So we do offer a 7-day free trial. So if you do want to go ahead and generate some images for your cover design, you can go ahead and do that here. The link is on the screen. You can. We will also drop a link in the chat, so that if you want to go ahead and look at that, you can. You're also more than welcome to go to dibbly.com, and you can just click on Dibbly Create there, and you'll see all of the features listed. It is a 7-day free trial, so you can use Dibbly Create up until the 7th day, and then you would need to pay for a subscription after that. If you do have any questions or concerns, you can always email us as well. Our email address is currently on the screen. It's sales@dibbly.com. So if you do need any assistance whatsoever, if you have any questions on how to use something, give us a shout. We're always more than happy to assist. So literally just reach out and we will help you. Okie dokie. And now we have a Q&A. So if anybody still has any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm going to start going through these and answer them as we go along. Okie dokie. So, what essential elements should be included in a book cover? So, there are a few that you do definitely need to include. So, if you're talking about specific items that need to be included, that is your title, your author name, your subtitle, back cover text. You also do need a section on the back of your book to give room for the ISBN code when you are printing via Amazon. If you're providing your own ISBN, you do need to add that ISBN when you are creating your cover as well, but Amazon provides their own ISBN, so you just need a little open section where they can put the ISBN themselves. And then, of course, just ensure that your color scheme and your texts, everything is legible. That is probably the most important part, aside from the title and subtitle, that sort of thing. The color scheme and making sure that everything is legible is very, very important. Okie how can fonts impact the effectiveness of the book? Very good question. Again, so basically, it conveys the genre. It ensures that people can actually read what's on your book. It sets the tone, the mood, the basically what the reader can expect inside of the book as well. Because if your font is very happy and very joyful on the front, if the inside of the book, it's basically self-explanatory that the inside of the book, so the content of it, is not going to be any is it's basically just not going to be happy and joyful. So if sorry, I completely misspoke there. I saw a comment pop up and I lost my train of thought. But basically, if the font is very happy, it's self-explanatory that the inside is going to be happy. If it's a very serious font, that means that the inside of the book is going to be very serious. So again, that is basically a massive role that the font plays in cover designs. Okie dokie. Is there any free version? So yes, for Dibbly Create, there is a free version that you can try out. It is the 7-day free trial, so you can go to www.dibbly.com and then just click on Dibbly Create. The link is also in the chat, so you can go ahead and click on that. So basically, there is a 7-day free trial that you can try out Dibbly Create and decide if you want to move forward from there, which I can almost guarantee that you're going to want to move forward with it. With the Urban Writers, the platform is completely free. You can browse through our products. You can browse through freelancer profiles. You can chat with them before you even go ahead and purchase a book, which is completely free as well. Okay, what design strategies can make a book cover really stand out on a shelf? Okay, this is a very technical question, but it's a very, very good question. So basically, you want bold colors. You want something that stands out. If everything in the genre is bright and bold and happy, and you have a very dull cover, it's going to stand out, but maybe people aren't going to want to read it because it's not the same theme as what the other books are. So bold colors, and or if the whole genre is subdued, stick with the more subdued colors instead. Um, Artwork is very, very important. So either original art or AI art or stock images, having the appropriate art is very, very important. Um, let's see. Typography, of course, that is very important. A simple design is also important. Again, less is more. So if you have a more simple design, like I showed for example, the little butterfly, that is super, super, super simple, but it is very, very effective. So keep your cover design simple. Don't try and do too much. You also want to incorporate white space and negative space. So keep areas empty. So it doesn't, your whole entire page doesn't need to have an image on it. There can be parts of the design that are just plain, that are either just blue or white or black or whatever color. And that's going to give you a space where you can actually put your title, subtitle, and so on. Okay. Okay, I have two technical questions. When you have a picture with different resolution, will bleeding be better or ratio change of the image? Okay, so both the previous question was technical. So in general, if you have a picture with different resolution, it is often better to just go ahead and get an image with better resolution rather than using what you already have. Either go and take another photo or search for a different one. It is very difficult to make an image work if it is bad resolution. Any good resolution, even if it's slightly different and it's not blurry, then it's fine. Then the image resolution doesn't really matter. But if it's terrible, like if it's like um for 80p, I think that's what it's called. That's what the videos are called. But if it's like terrible, terrible quality, it is not going to work. Okay. But bleeding and not bleed, bleeding and no bleed, that is more for the uh, what's the word, for the formatting of your book. That's basically what it is. Gosh, I was so incredibly white. I don't know why this light keeps going off. Okay. How can authors use book covers to set expectations with readers? So, again, if you are doing a very serious book, your cover design is going to show how serious the actual inside of the book is going to be. If it's very fun and very light-hearted, the cover, then the inside is going to be light-hearted as well. I'm so sorry about the lights. But yeah, basically, it is the tone sets the mood. Okay, so the tone will set the mood. The cover design always sets the mood. The tone of the cover sets the mood. Yeah. Um, and again, let me just open this up. Sorry, I can't see everything. Um, okay. Okay, perfect. Alrighty, I think we can move on to, I think that's answered. Let me know if it isn't answered. But yeah, the mood, just the general mood of the cover, tells the reader what they can expect on the inside. Please explain if margins are important in paperback, hardcover, or ebook. Yes, it is very, very important. So margins are for formatting. So if you are printing your book, your margins play a critical role in determining whether or not your text is going to be cut off when it's printed and bound, or if it's going to sit nicely in the middle. So when you are formatting a book to paperback, for example, the margins on the left and the right hand side for every second book is going to be different. It's because the bigger margin actually goes on in the middle of the book. So let me actually show you. So what I mean is the margins here in the middle, when the pages, those pages, it's going to be different in the middle because it needs to be bound. So those margins are also always going to be bigger than the other sides and the top and the bottom. However, margins aren't that important with cover designs because the cover design is supposed to cover the entire book. There aren't margins that are really needed to be considered, but for formatting, margins are very, very important. With ebook formatting, it isn't that bad. For formatting, again, there is a standard that we format ebooks in, and that means that it is compatible whether you read on a phone, a Kindle, a tablet, a PC. So yeah, ebook is a lot more flexible, where paperback is a lot more precise. You need to be very, very precise when formatting for paperback. Okay. Tell us about a cover you personally love and why. So I used these as an example earlier. I absolutely adore these covers, even if I did not like the books themselves, which I actually really do enjoy. Even if I didn't like the books, I still would have purchased these books because the covers are so incredibly interesting. There's also this book over here. Yeah. So let me grab this. So this is Caraval. Stunning, stunning, stunning cover design. I personally really dislike the book itself, but I don't have the heart to get rid of it because the cover design is so beautiful. So yeah, so now you have two examples: one of books that I actually really enjoy, and one of a book that I deeply dislike. I bought it for the cover. Again, I'm a visual buyer, so bought it for the cover. Didn't like the content, but I still have it. I can't get rid of it. It's just one of those things. Okie dokie. That is everything that we have time for today. We literally just hit the hour mark. So fantastic, amazing timing. Again, if you need any assistance whatsoever, please give us a shout. You can contact us, let us know, call us, you can book a demo with us, and we are more than happy to assist you with whatever you need. Okay, well, have an absolutely amazing day ahead, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you, and I'll